miss anything about United States?
That's a good question.
Moving money from one continent to another, it is a roller coaster ride.
What I fear for people is that when you do that, you may find yourself packing your bags and going back home.
One thing that I did not expect when we embarked on this is
we thought today we would talk about the sort of psychology, as we call it, of moving to another country. I can't say enough what a big deal this is.
Yes.
And maybe if you're thinking about it, you already know you're about to undertake something big. It takes a certain mindset, we've come to find out. I think we can agree that a certain number of things had to be in place for us to successfully navigate this journey. And so we want to get into some of these, what these things are, what can put you in the best position possible so you can succeed in embarking on this big adventure that's going to take a number of years before you feel settled somewhere. We're 3 years in and we're still going.
I think, if you ask us why haven't we started this channel before, is because I feel now is the right time. We're able to really provide real advice after being here 3 years.
So we can look back on what we did and see what worked and what didn't, right?
Yes.
As well.
I must say, when we left, what was easy for us was the fact that we have two of our two sons living in Europe.
Two of our children.
And that was very important to us.
So having our kids was instrumental, but I think you're speaking to all the solid reasons we had for leaving, which I think is the first thing that has to be in place. You have to know, as you call it, the why. Why you're doing. But so the why, the reasons, we knew we were done with the US. After 40 or so years, we felt like, okay, this lifestyle, this way of living, these priorities here we're done with.
Yeah.
And we come from Argentina, and there's a European flavor or flair to Argentina.
Yes.
So, Europe was interesting. And so we had all the right reasons. I for myself, felt really done. I felt like I can really cut things here and start something new, right? And that was exciting. That was very exciting.
I think, we have been doing a lot of personal work, introspection, and this, for me, making this move gave me an opportunity to stretch myself, because you are forced to not have the comforts that keep you kind of stuck.
And you can grow.
And you can grow. And,
right.
The stressors adjacent with the excitement, it's a great space to keep you alive.
Well, you've compared this to grapes on the vine, right? When you stress the grape just the right amount, it has all this potential.
Yes.
To make great wine. And so that's a good point. The spiritual aspect. So once you have that foundation, I think
that was our foundation.
Our foundation, right. You are excited about what you're doing. It feels right to you. And that carries you as you're going through crappy Airbnbs.
And every time you're about to do something new, such as moving money from one continent to another, we haven't done that before. It is a roller coaster ride. Yeah. You are having to rely on your intuition. And that was something I really enjoy about the process, is I really had to go deep and lean on my centering, my inner guidance, because there is a lot of stuff that is very, very scary. I mean, we're talking all your money. You sell your house, all your stuff. You have to have all that liquid money, and it needs to be,
Right. So again, stressful, but it's stuff that you just have to figure out. And you're using your noodle a great deal. It does keep you young, as I've said before. It keeps you thinking, problem solving. Mm-hmm. And ultimately you find that there are solutions, because you're in this digging, figuring out mode. You figure things out. Maybe not right away, but you figure them out.
Yes.
And there's a satisfaction to that.
Absolutely. But it is important to say that you need to be in a very solid, if you are moving abroad with your partner, you need to be in a very solid
on the same
relationship, because a lot of these external stressors could create tension you don't need that extra tension. You already have the tension of all this other decisions you have to make. So I would say that it's important to have a lot of these conversations of what are your strengths, what are you willing to do, what are my strengths, you know, and even along the way things could change. You know, I'm exhausted from doing this. Can you take over?
Right.
So conversations about how you feel. So I would say it's important to have eloquent language to explain your feelings.
I think it's about being able to connect well with yourself so you can
Yes.
express your feelings the best way you can.
Yes.
And to that point, so given our spiritual work and the things we've done, we have a sitting practice. It's something that's really important to us. To some people, it's plain and simply meditation. It's a quiet time to just close your eyes, spend 20 minutes sitting quietly. We do it in relation to how we feel. So we work on our feelings internally. And all that, which is impossible to explain in words, I mean, it's a very experiential thing that you do for a long time, that lets you connect to yourself and create space. At the very least, if you sit quietly and try to get away from your mind a little bit and into your body, it lets you create space so you see other possibilities.
Correct.
Otherwise, you're drowning in your fear, you're drowning in your anxiety and your panic.
You create drama when it doesn't need to be created.
It gets blown out of proportion
Yes.
and you are so much less effective. And what I fear for people is that when you do that, you may find yourself packing your bags and going back home.
Yeah.
Because you're quitting on something where you haven't given yourself the opportunity to expand and sort of embrace it and navigate it.
Yeah.
Right?
But it is important to hear that this is not easy. And as much as it's wonderful because, oh my God, being in Europe, you have access to every country. I'm dying to travel everywhere. And we started. That's wonderful. But, you know, in parallel to that, things are not as in United States.
It's all different.
It's all very different.
So you're adapting to different and it's going to challenge the heck out of you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just part and parcel of
It's like you're
how it works.
swapping certain things.
Yeah.
I like the swapping. There is so much more benefits of living now in Europe, especially in our age. I would say United States
I thought
is
you were going to say in our 80s.
I would say
Would not be accurate. Right?
I would say United States is a wonderful country when you're young, energetic, and you wanna be entrepreneurial. It's been an amazing
climb up the corporate ladder, sort of a mental, or startup, or whatever.
We've been always independent, so it's been wonderful to us. But when you get to near retirement and you want to be a little bit more chill, you just can't. Somehow you can't escape the system, the sucking money out of you.
Because you're constantly thinking within that context of making money, of spending.
The conversation.
How do I thrive? How do I grow? How do
my God.
increase my income? Yada yada. You know.
Even as silly as keeping up, staying young, you know, you see that on social media. And it doesn't mean that the French women don't care about looking young and looking beautiful, but it's a lot more natural. They embrace much more aging naturally. And I really, really like that. Things like that are just
Those differences.
more chill.
We did another video on shockers here in France. So check that out because we talk a lot about just differences.
And more will be
between the two
coming
countries.
because we couldn't cover everything.
I know. So I'd like to summarize a little bit because I feel like there needs to be kind of a practicalness to this. I know many of you are considering traveling alone. So you're not in partnership necessarily with someone. I think even alone you could embrace a sitting practice. You can, be with yourself and sort of settle, ground yourself. I think whether you're in relationship or not, working with someone on the outside is great. We found that to be hugely helpful because we feel that we can't do it on our own. We can help each other out. Never try to help your spouse with their emotional, issues.
So we're providing that now for others. We started a service, which I think is very valuable for those who need the support and to double check if what they're doing is a good decision. Because we've been here now 3 years, we know every day a little bit more. And we can be that support system for those who are just embarking.
Right. So the two of us, we come as a package. We are working with people either individually or as couples. So if that interests you, if that seems like it could be of help to you and supporting you in your journey, in your adventure, reach out movingabroadjc@gmail.com. I'll put that information below, and we'd love to hear from you.
Do you miss anything about United States?
That's a good question. I mean, we're not immune to missing what we had. I think about the house we had, and I miss it sometimes. I don't dwell on it. It's funny, I always mention my dentist, missing my dentist. For some reason, he was this great guy that I used to love to go see.
Yeah.
I don't miss it that way. I don't miss it like some people speak about missing home, because it stopped being home to me. And so I know it's not that easy for everyone to just close the door and move on.
See, I miss still my
I know you
house
do
in
more,
United. I
yeah.
do think about my
Yeah,
house.
well,
in
you're
United
a
States.
nester. You're a person who needs
Yeah.
to have, but I think the house is coming along.
And I
you're-
miss a few stores. I'm one of those people who used to like to home goods late at night on a weekday when it was empty
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
go buy whatever.
I did a video on Beneath the Surface on things that I miss about the U.S. and having everything in place is a top thing.
I do
And
miss-
You
yeah.
only say that because you wish you had it. I say it because I wish I had it here, because I wish I could know all my doctors and know where everything is. That's coming along. That's coming along. We are in the countryside, so we have to drive farther for certain specialty stores
Yeah.
and things we like. But that's, again, part and parcel of living in the gorgeous countryside, which is what we wanted. So,
And we're less than an hour away on a train in super comfortable, easy train ride to Paris, to the center of Paris. So that's always nice to have. We didn't talk about the decision fatigue. I do want to
Tell me about
cover
that.
decision
Yes,
fatigue.
yes.
One thing that I did not expect when we embarked on this is how many nonstop we could not escape decision making every day.
But aren't we still doing that? I mean,
To this
it's
day,
still- yeah.
yes.
It's
But
like-
I remember that muscle was so sore. It is
the brain muscle.
the brain muscle. Every day it would be something new. When you are doing this, you're relying on Airbnbs. A lot of decisions. And for me, it was important to always go to an Airbnb that had a washing machine because I don't trust. And I like to really wash sheets. I don't care. I'll wash sheets, everywhere I go.
So the booking to make sure they accept
That-
pets,
Yes.
washing machine, good coffee maker,
Yes.
good location, good reviews.
That was another thing. I wanted to be sure I would be in a nice location,
Yeah.
not in
And
a...
that's just the stays. That's just the stays.
It
you
is
know?
a constant checking and
So
deciding.
I think for that, what we're finding out is
Be
there's
patient.
only so many hours in the day.
Yes.
You wake up with a list of 20 things. You'll get 5 done if you're lucky. And that has to be okay. You wake up the next day and we did that leaving the US for 4 months. Every morning with the
Yeah.
ads, the people, the selling,
Yes.
the packing. You go, okay, I'm exhausted. I did what I could. You crash, wake up the next morning, fresh coffee.
And I would say that, I tend to go a little bit more gung-ho. You tend to be much better than me at, okay, it's time to relax. And I'm like, no, we have so much
Yeah.
more to do. It is important to take those breaks. And it is important to, to travel.
We love it. We're in Europe. It's great. I would be interested in the comments. Tell us if this was a topic that interested you, this kind of foundational psychological look at what it takes to have sort of the muscle to take something like this on and to also endure it or survive it. That's too strong of a word. To embrace, again, the ups and downs that are inevitable in the
Yeah.
process. So if this interests you, it really interests us because we're always looking at the internal stuff. And we'd love to talk more about it. So
I want to add one more thing. Recently, we've been dealing with a lot of upsetness. There was a chain of events. We had a couple of tires get nails, and we had to fix
Yes.
them. The filtration system we installed for our house broke. So now we're having to swap it. We're not hearing about the visa. So a lot of times there will be a lot of things that are not, let's just say, working. And when you're not feeling, in control, you kind of miss home. And it's important to have someone to maybe express all that, so you don't get lost in want to go home and not
and sort of give up on your dreams.
And give this the proper
the proper attention.
Yeah.
Again, if you're interested in talking to someone and expressing your concerns and looking for solutions together, we'd love to support you. We're doing consultations one-on-one with people, the two of us. And so please reach out, movingabroadjc@gmail.com, info in the description below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.